Hi, everybody. This is Saad. A few days ago, I was sitting at a cafe with my wife, and we were joined by a gentleman who's about 15 years older than me. And I only recently met up with him again uh, by fluke. We were sitting at the exact same cafe a few weeks ago, and he came up to me and he introduced himself and said, "Oh, are you Saad?" And it turns out that he's also from the Lebanese Jewish community. He knew of my work, but although he knew me in the past as a much younger kid, and since we've gone several times to the cafe and we've met up with him uh, by coincidence, and we sit down and we chat, and really lovely fellow. And so a few days ago we were sitting there, and he referred to the pomegranate story from chapter one of the Parasitic Mind. This is the really harrowing story that I recount from my childhood in Lebanon. And as he was asking me details of that story, some of the background to that story, and so on, as I said, he comes from Lebanon. He has experienced some of the realities that come with growing up Jewish in Lebanon. And so I was telling him that story, and a woman passes by. She stops and she says, "Excuse me, are you Professor Saad?" I say, "Yes." So then she pulls out of her purse a copy of The Parasitic Mind. And she says, "I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Would you mind signing the book?" And my children are actually around, and they're both big fans. Maybe they can come by and say hello. I said, "Sure, no problem." And so late after I sign the book, uh, later they come by. We take a family picture. Okay, so that's all great. It's something that I'm delighted to see happen, because it means that people appreciate your work, and it happens often. And then as we were sitting there, a gentleman comes up to us. He's with a stroller with three kids. He looks clearly like a Hasidic guy, but a very young guy, Jewish guy. And he turns to us and says, "Are you guys Jewish?" We say yes. So he says, "Do you want to hear the shofar, the ram's horn that you blow at certain parts in the Jewish rituals? Typically Rosh Hashanah, the start of the New Year, the Jewish New Year, and also at Yom Kippur, and in other cases also." And so he passes out some, a couple of prayers and says a couple of nice things. Very young guy, a student at a yeshiva, where you learn the Talmud and so on. And he starts, blowing the shofar many, many times. Uh, and it was very, as you know, I'm not terribly religious, but of course, I am very much linked to my Jewish heritage. And so it's incredible about the serendipity of life, right? I mean, I first meet this Lebanese gentleman who comes from our community, whom I didn't really remember from my childhood, who approaches me a few weeks ago, introduces himself, and we've now gone to coffee for a few times. Uh, and then while sitting with him, talking about a story that I discuss in the Parasitic Mind about some harrowing episode from my Lebanese childhood, a woman comes up who has a copy of the book in her purse, and then her children are coming, and so on and so. And then this yeshiva student comes up, and so when my wife and I were leaving, I said, it's incredible how important it is for humans to instantiate their need for human sociality, right? I mean, the biggest punishment that you can met to, say, a prisoner is to put them on solitary confinement, right? Many prisoners would prefer to take their chances in general population, where they could be raped, where they could be shanked, where they could be attacked, abused, rather than suffer the cruelty of being alone. Social animals don't like to be alone. You want to punish a dog, ostracize him from his or her pack. And so as we were walking away, I told her, this was like maybe it was about a 1 hour break. But I said to her, I feel refreshed, because there were so many wonderful little moments bonding us to a whole bunch of different people, or bonding me to a whole bunch of different people in all sorts of novel and unexpected ways that I just felt recharged, and then I could go back to my work. So there you have it. COVID is tough. It has caused a lot of difficulties with isolation, but hopefully slowly people are getting out there. It's important, just like it's important to exercise and eat well. It's important to instantiate our need for sociality. Sometimes I meet up with a friend and we get caught up in a 1 hour incredible intellectual conversation, and then I feel totally refreshed by that interaction. And I often do it, by the way, while walking. What a wonderful way to hit two birds with one stone. You're both exercising your body and your mind, engaging in some wonderful conversation. So get out there, make connections, open yourself up to the world. Yes, there's a lot of cruelty and ugliness in the world, but there's also tons of fantastic people. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.